Well, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. This is Rick with Hit and Run Candlesticks. Today is Monday, September 21, 2020. Man, this year is going awfully fast. So, by the time you listen to this recording, I'm guessing that most people have already been up and you have checked the futures and you can see the futures are down. So, for some of you, this is going to be a really good day for you, and for others, it's not going to be such a good day. And I guess there's a group out there that may be in some longs and some shorts. Might be just a scratch day for you. So we'll just have to get through today. One thing I do want to say here is through this video here, in the end, in the middle, in the beginning, I do not have any trade ideas today. And the reason I'm not putting trade ideas out today is because I just am totally against chasing the market and chasing stocks. And this just may be what today is. So I don't want to do that. But what I would like to do is go through the market, a couple of things here that I want to point out. And I also want to remind you that tomorrow at 11:45 Eastern, tomorrow, by the way, would be Tuesday, September 22nd, at 11:45 Eastern, we will be having a webinar with some live trades, and we'll be covering what the market is up to, trades we're in, trades we're thinking about. I also, I've mentioned on the YouTube channel that if you ask questions there, what I'm going to start doing is on Tuesdays at that 11:45 time during that webinar, I'm going to answer those questions. So if you do have questions and you want to type them in the YouTube chat, I'll be glad to cover them. And remember, that video will be posted back to YouTube, so you'll be able to hear your questions answered. I sure would appreciate that if anyone wanted to toss a few questions out there. Okay, let's get started. All right, as I said, most of you have already looked at the futures by now, and you know that we're opening up a little bit lower. It is 10 minutes to 7 my time, so that's 10 minutes to 8 East Coast time. So there's plenty time yet for things in the market to change. I'm going to draw a line right here using this area here as support on the SPY. You can see that we're overshooting that just a little bit, but that might be an area to start where we might start to see a little bit of a bounce. We're down at the open. The market might try to move up. I do want to remind you that we are in a bearish H pattern. We've talked about this, and we've talked about how we needed to get through this level here before we could get bullish. Let's see, there we go. This level right in here, 342, before we could get bullish, and we just never did. In fact, we headed to the downside. We also talked about if we start getting through about this 332 level, that would really put some pressure on the sellers, and that is definitely what's happening here. So we want to watch this area, be a little careful, be careful not to chase in this market. Now I want to change this chart. Let's go to this one right here. In this chart here, we've got that 50-day simple right in here, and we're below that now. So this could be setting up for a blue ice failure. Right here, both of these red lines are my deuces. One is just adjusted a little bit different. But these are the 200 period moving average down here. And there is a real possibility that we get down into that area on the SPY of about that 310. Now, I don't think it's going to happen in one day, and we could certainly have a little bit of a relief rally before we head down that way. We could even have that a couple of times or more before we actually get down into that 200 period moving average here. But right now, that is what the trend is doing, and that's what I'm going to be looking for until this trend changes, or until we get a series of candlesticks or price action that suggests that the buyers are stepping in. Let's take a look at FNGU. Now, that's also down a little bit this morning. Not quite as bad as the SPY. And we really want to watch this chart. This chart is what's led us up so high, or the big tech that's in it is what's led us up so high, and now it's pulling back. And if we start breaking through, these lows right in here of about 151.60, that puts the dotted deuce right here and the 200 period moving average right here. That puts that in sight. And if we were to come over here, right here at this top, and draw a little line right in there, that could be a good supporting area, and it could be a good target for the price. And you can see that we're right down in those deuce areas. So that is very, very possible. When we're looking at long trades, I think it's important to wait for, if we're in it, if that trade has been trending down, I think it's important that we wait for the breakout. And if this right here is the high, then, let's see here, blue, then what we want is to come back and test, and then we want to move up past this high. So what I look for is, this is not the tradable bottom. This is not the tradable run. We pull back, we put in a low. This could be tradable here. But this breakout, this is the tradable bottom. That's the tradable bottom. And that's what I'll be looking for to the long side. For the short side, let's go back to the SPY real quick. To the short side, what I'm going to be looking for is a relief rally up in stocks, not necessarily the market, but in stocks. And then when they hit our scanner for that 3H trap, we're set up for a perfect bearish 3/8 trap. We rally up into the trap, and then we see a little bit of weakness. We see that price action starting to roll over, and that makes for a good entry. And again, this is not just on the SPY, but also stocks that we might be trading. VXX. We ended up closing Friday with a pretty equal doji here on a double bottom. It looks like we're gapping up a little bit today. Looks like about 25 and a quarter. Remember, I'm doing this video hour and a half before the market opens, so anything could change in that hour and a half. Overall, VXX is still in a downtrend, so any kind of a pop-up, I just consider that as a relief rally and not any kind of big major change. Now, if we were to, just as I mentioned earlier, we go from a low to a high to a higher low or double bottom. They're pretty much the same to me. And then we rally up. Well, this becomes that tradable bottom area right in here, because what we're going to look for is a pullback and test. Now, this can be traded. This certainly can be traded in here. And more than likely, that is something we'll do. But we're not going to chase today. That's what we do not want to do, is chase. So I know that a few members, myself included, we held SDS overnight over the weekend, and that may pay pretty well today. That might pay pretty well. And I know some of us held that VXX. That also might pay well today. On the other hand, we also held things over like Wells Fargo. And Wells Fargo is actually moving down a little bit. So let's see here. Go here. You can see Wells Fargo is gapping down. So we're going to have to decide what we're going to do with that. And we'll make that decision at some point today, whether we're going to keep it. And a couple others like NIO. NIO is one where we held over the weekend, and it's gapping down, but it doesn't look like it's gapping down very much. So this might be a candidate to hang on to. Okay, kind of a short video today. Again, we have no trade ideas. I think today is a day that we really need to take care of what we own. We're already in. Be careful not to chase. And please check out the link below to register for Tuesday's webinar. You must register, and that's Tuesday, tomorrow, September 22nd, at 11:45 Eastern Time. And by the way, we do this each Tuesday at 11:45 intraday. So if you'd like to join in on us, please do so. Thank you very much. We'll see everybody in the trading room.